Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. So it's time that I discussed the gender pay gap. Recent research shows that a quarter of companies pay men more than women, and the gap is not small. A quarter of the businesses who are in favour of men rather than the genders being equal have a 20% pay gap between males and females. I read an article by The Guardian which was published last week, and it stated that over the past 2 years there has been no significant improvement on the gender pay gap. The gap only decreased ever so slightly from 9.7% to 9.6%. It is important to mention that almost 8 in 10 companies are still paying their male employees more than their female counterparts, so it's very clear that we have a lot of work still to do in order to create the equal world that many of us desire. Almost a third of businesses had pay gaps which were worse than the average for full and part-time workers. That average is currently around 17.9%. Out of 9,961 companies, it was found that 7,755 of them were paying their female workers less than the male workers, and that statistic is based off of hourly pay. Interestingly to know is it's actually the law, it's compulsory for businesses with more than 250 workers to publish their gender pay gap statistics. MP Rachel Reeves, who is the current chair of the Business, Energy and Industrial Strategy Select Committee, explained that, quote, "Too few businesses simply file the stats and then carry on as usual, failing to examine why they aren't attracting female talent, why these pay gaps exist in their firms, and what they need to do to change it," end quote. The chief executive of the Fawcett Society said, quote, "The regulations are not tough enough. It's time for action plans, not excuses," end quote. The UK company with the highest pay gap was Vida Healthcare, and it was found that for every £1 that men earned, women were earning just 21 pence. Other companies which possessed similar statistics were the Global Energy Group and Winston Academies Trust. It is, of course, very clear that we are not doing enough to resolve this issue, and it's also clear that our current tactics to end this issue is simply not working. We need to move on to something else. We need some other plan or idea to try to sort this issue out. And this is just something that I thought was pretty interesting, but an article was published on this particular topic by the BBC. And that particular article, I'll link it in the description box down below, has a tool which allows you to search any company and it will tell you what their gender pay gap statistics are. So for example, I actually typed in the supermarket company that I used to work for, and it reported a pay gap of around 8.5%, which was favourable to men. So for every £10 a man earned, a woman would take home £9.15. So the company I worked for is one of the 78% of companies that has a pay gap favouring men over women. It was very interesting actually, just being able to type in any company and having the statistics there shown to me in plain black and white, you know, there was no getting away from it or hiding in any way. But as mentioned, it is now a requirement for businesses to report their pay gaps. However, there are so many companies which have missed the deadline. The EHRC, which is the Equality and Human Rights Commission, has explained that it aims to take action against those companies who missed the deadline, but it has not been clear exactly how many businesses did not report. Research has proven that every single sector of work in the UK pays male workers more than female workers. And going by the BBC article that was published on this topic, finance firms often have larger pay gaps. Some even report gaps of up to 50%. Take, for example, Lloyd's Bank, whose gap stands currently in 2019 at just over 40%. British Gas figures were almost at 40%, and independent vet care was one of the worst, reporting that their gap for the gender pay was 50%. It's been suggested that all organisations need to set out a 5-year plan to attempt to solve the gender pay gap problem. So do you think this issue is ever actually going to be resolved? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Have you had any experiences with the gender pay gap? Please let me know your story in the comment section down below. I'd love to hear about it. As a woman, I feel very deflated about this issue, and honestly I thought this was getting better and we were making progress, but obviously and unfortunately I was wrong in thinking that. I feel just very defeated, as I think it's completely wrong that companies and brands are getting away with this still to this day, in this day and age. I can only hope that in the coming years things will start to get better and the pay gap will be reduced, and I hope that men and women will soon be seen as equals in the workplace. So if you enjoyed this video, please make sure to leave it a thumbs up. If you are new here, please click on that subscribe button. I do just want to very quickly mention as well, before I end this video, that my problem is not with the fact that you know, for example, this happens all the time in the workplace where there's different price brackets depending on the job role that you are doing. My problem is when a man and a woman are in the same price pay bracket, they do the exact same job, however the woman is getting paid less than the man. In some cases the woman gets paid extremely less compared to their male counterparts. If you are higher up, then you get paid more. Of course you're going to. That's the way it's always worked. That's the way it's going to probably continue to work. Those people are working at a different level. It's a different job role. Perhaps there's a lot more responsibility. You know, a manager is not ever going to be paid the same as just a standard customer assistant, you know, because they're very different jobs and they require different skill levels and so on and so forth. So that is my point here. So I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in my next video.